Chapter 3. As Eliza led the princess to her master's chamber door, another servant girl was leaving, a confused expression on her darkly tanned face. She saw Eliza and the princess and bowed at Princess Bailey without another word. They both stopped in front of the servant, and Princess Bailey spoke. "You may stand." "Hello, Mari. How is Prince Michael?" "Distracted." Mari kept her head bowed, avoiding eye contact with the princess. He also seemed angry. "That is normal," Eliza sighed. "He's always in a foul mood. I've noticed. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must return to my chores." Without another word, she disappeared down the corridor. Eliza turned to the princess. "Your Highness, be prepared for a short temper and a sharp tongue." "Yes, we met before, earlier today." She rolled her eyes. "He seems rather trying." Eliza moved to stand between the princess and the bedroom door, knocking just loud enough to be heard. "What is it?" "Enter." Boomed the commanding voice of Prince Michael, causing Eliza to flinch away from the door just before pushing it open. "Your Highness, Princess Bailey would like to speak with you." Prince Michael was sitting at the small table having lunch. He stood up when he heard what the maid had said. "Then I'll go to her immediately. What did she want?" "Well, actually, Your Highness, the princess actually came with me." She stepped inside, holding the door open so Princess Bailey could enter. "Oh." He looked to the princess, then back at the maid. "Then why didn't you say so sooner?" He turned his attention back to Princess Bailey. "And to what do I owe the pleasure of your presence?" "Please sit down." He motioned to a chair at the table opposite his own. "I'll stand, thank you. I won't be here for long." She wanted to get back to her own room and start back from where she had left off in her book. "As you wish." He looked to the maid again. "You there. I don't know your name." "Eliza, Your Highness." She bowed before him as she spoke. "Eliza," he nodded, then pointed to the table. "Clear this mess of the table. I'm done with it." She did as she was told, clearing the dishes and the napkin off the table, placing them back on the serving tray that they'd been brought at the table to the room on. "Take them down to the kitchen to be washed while Princess Bailey and I have a talk." She silently obeyed, leaving them alone as she shut the door behind her. He took back his seat at the table, looking up to her eyes, which held both an icy stare, but also showed a fiery stubbornness, much like his own. "You wanted to speak with me?" "Yes, I did." She kept her place near the door, their eyes meeting. "I wanted to talk about Eliza." "What did she do? Or what didn't she do?" His eyes narrowed as he jumped to conclusions, thinking the maid to be lazy or perhaps even slow-witted. "It is not like that. You see, I have my own handmaidens, and there will be nothing for her to do." "You already have maids. I've never seen them around you." His glare lightened as his eyebrow raised. "They unpacked my belongings, and then I gave them the day off to get used to their new surroundings. My point is, she wouldn't be anything useful with me." He frowned, damning the fact that his plan had fallen through. "I see. Then she's not your problem anymore." "She never was a problem. She's actually very sweet, to be honest. She merely lacks a place among my own servants. It's not her fault." He shook his own head. Of course not. She'll return to her normal chores immediately. He smiled, but was annoyed that the spy had been dismissed so soon. Thank you, she smiled to him, glad that he seemed to be taking this well. Now, if you'll excuse me, I will return to my own room. He rose from his seat. Actually, I'll escort you back if you don't mind. There's really no need. She kept her smile, trying to be polite. But I insist. He walked toward the door, holding it open for her. As you wish, she sighed, giving up on arguing with him now. She walked to the door and into the hallway as she shut the door behind them. He walked beside her, both silent and as they made their way down the hall. They soon reached her door, and she turned to face him, smiling faintly. Thank you for walking with me, even though I would have been fine on my own. I was just trying to be polite. You are my guest. I suppose you are right. Either way, I'll see you later, Prince Michael. She was tired of arguing with him and just wanted the small bit of peace that was her room. Until then, he forced a smile as he was dismissed by the princess. She opened the door, disappearing inside. As she shut the door, his smile fell into a scowl. His plan completely foiled. He returned to his own room, seething. As he returned, Elisa had returned and was making her way around his room, dusting. She moved to the bed, straightening the bedspread and fluffing the pillows. He took a seat on the couch the opposite side of the room, watching her quietly as she worked. An hour passed. As she finished her chores around the room, she turned to the prince, gathering enough courage to speak to him as she approached him. Permission to speak freely, Your Highness? His eyes met hers, timid and fighting to stand her ground. He looked to her face a moment before he answered. Permission granted. What's on your mind, servant? He actually couldn't care less about what she had to say, but why not listen for a moment? Perhaps if you'd simply talk to the princess and get to know her, she would be more tolerant of you. She hoped she didn't just sentence herself to a flagging. She stood in silence, waiting for a response. Merely talking to her. His tone was mocking as he raised an eyebrow. Have you no sense? Of course not. You're a servant. He scowled. Women like Princess Bailey, women of status, always wanted material things. The prince's words and expressions startled Elisa. She's just denying that she is like every other woman. He shook his head, annoyed and angered. But she didn't seem like that to me, Your Highness. If that were true, she wouldn't have turned me away. She would have used me like as a footstool or something. You have spoken your piece, servant. Be gone. He growled, slamming a fist on the arm of the couch. Elisa flinched, taking a step back from him. Yes, Your Highness. She walked to the door, but stopped in front of it. Your Highness, you have been miserable since they left us. Princess Bailey's mother has passed as well. Perhaps talking to her will help. There is no harm in trying. I said, leave now, so get out before I beat you myself. He shouted, standing from the couch, moments away from throttling the woman. Without another word, she ran out in the hallway, her words having struck a nerve in the prince.